Thank you for tuning in to Ungentrified with Kent Johnson. Ungentrified takes an unfiltered view on pop culture, music, television and film, politics, current events, and topics central to the worldwide Black community. Ungentrified is a safe audio space for celebrating Black culture in its purest form. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Ungentrified with Kent Johnson. I'm your host, of course, Kent Johnson, and I'll be introducing who I have with me shortly, but let's get straight into the hot takes. You ready to talk about what's going on in the news?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the first topic on our agenda today is the former 49er, Eric Reid. And you guys may know Eric Reid from him being one of the first football players to join Kaepernick in the national anthem protest. He's been in the news recently because just like his boy Kaepernick, he hasn't been able to secure a job. He's been basically a free agent ever since the end of last season. What's your take on Eric Reid's current situation?
What I find interesting about, with the NFL and who's being blackballed and who's not, I think I'm more so surprised that people are still surprised that this is happening. Like, nothing has changed. And I mean, yeah, we can continue to boycott, or half boycott. But I mean, the thing is that unless we are really going to be, either watching football or, creating terms for our players and also teaching our boys as growing up about this is not just about playing ball, it's about business as well. We got some things to work on.
Right. And at this point, nobody can say it's because of his ability on the field. Like, he's a high caliber player. There's no other reason that he's not playing right now other than his stance on practicing his right to activism on the field. So there's nothing that anybody can say that would contradict the idea that he's not able to do this because of his stance.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There's, and honestly, and really, like, a lot of these sportscasters need to really stop discussing it as if that we need to keep discussing it so that more attention can come to it. And really, we just need to get and understand that this is not going to change unless we own teams. We own the NFL. We own other sports teams. Until we own our own stuff, it's going to remain the same.
Right. And it brings me back to the idea that at the end of the day, they're going to look at you the same way. And we already know. We've heard comments even recently. I mean, Kobe's clapped back on it recently, but like, we're more than just athletes. We do have minds, and there's nothing wrong with us exercising our rights and our thoughts. And the fact that this is something that still goes on when it would really, in my opinion, be a benefit to any team to be like, you know what? All we care about is the fact that this person has the confidence to say what's on his mind. He's not hurting anybody to do so. And, let's take a step back and actually recall why Colin, Eric, and other players have decided to take a knee. But, that's gotten lost in translation because people have their own agendas on what they want to be made of these stances. But yeah, I'm curious to see what will happen in the fall when the season starts up. And if these two players don't have a job, what are we going to do then?
I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think we are going to do anything. Folks are going to find and make excuses to watch football, and things are going to go as planned until folks are literally like, I'm not going to sign my son up for Pop Warner football. Nothing's going to change. It has to be a mindset change all the way to the little boys that play ball. So And unless it's not, they're going to grow up and thinking that the only way I can take care of my family financially and create the structure I need is to play ball. Then it's going to be a continuous cycle.
Unfortunately, another thing in the news this week is, the exact reason why Eric and Colin were protesting. Louisiana has decided that they will not charge the officers that were involved in the shooting of Alton Sterling, really the murder of Alton Sterling. And it brings me back to a conversation I have all the time about like how our community is under a constant attack. And it's not just physically. We see the physical part every day, but it's a mental thing as well. And I don't know about you, but whenever this happens, in the back of my mind, I know what's going to happen, but I still hope for different. You still feel like that kind of kick in the gut that reminds you that, whatever path you may be on, wherever lay in life you may have, you're still looked at as a threat. It doesn't matter. And I try to explain this to, those younger than me, that you can be impeccably dressed, you could be a bum. You're looked at the same way in these situations because of the color of your skin. And absolutely. I don't know, what's your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. From my own experience, I've been raised to being able to navigate through many circles in life. And that's from, being with our own people and also navigating with those who don't look like us in corporate and business professional environments. And it doesn't matter what you have on. It doesn't matter if you have a tailored suit, European cut, you talk quote unquote proper English. People, unfortunately, are going to judge you by the color of your skin. And that's the reality. And we need to teach our kids from the very beginning that we don't live in a race doesn't matter world. Obviously, through many actions in history, they've shown that it does. So it's, when I hear stories like this of young brothers who are getting shot by the police, it really, I have a younger brother, and Trayvon Martin definitely hit a chord with me because when I saw that happening to Trayvon, I saw, my little brother. I saw people I know, friends and family members. It's one of those things that, we really need to pay attention what's going on in our country. We need to especially pay attention what's going on around the world, because we can tend to live in a bubble at times. We think that as long as I got my white picket fence, my kids are going to good schools. Like, I understand that. However, we have to look beyond our immediate family and ask ourselves, going to school with someone who is not in the most supportive environment, how are they going to affect my kids? And we have to look beyond our immediate family and understand that the world affects us in many levels, financially, religious, spirituality, and even in relationships. So this whole trying to continually convince certain groups and entities that, hey, this is a problem that Black men and women are being shot. Like, I'm done having that. I'm done having that debate. I'm done having that discussion, because the same people that tend to bring it up are those who trying to convince us that there's not a problem. And so, yeah, I've just, as a personal side, I've just decided to not debate that anymore. So.
Yeah, we're also dealing in a situation with the Stephon Clark. Like, I didn't even want to watch the video because I was like, I can't do it. I can't participate in, in injuring myself. Like, I can't go through that mentally again. And to go back to what you were saying, yeah, like every time I've been harassed by the police, well, since I moved to Atlanta, each time I've been harassed by the police, I look like Carlton Banks. Like, I had on khaki shorts above the knee, boat shoes with no socks, on my way to work.
With a pocket skirt.
Yeah. Like, I look the complete opposite of what one would expect to be dealing with the police. And that was every single time I got pulled up by them or pulled over or questioned about what I was doing. One time I had my law school books in a backpack in the back seat. Like it doesn't matter. And
Doesn't matter.
and people don't get that. And I try to get on, fellow brothers and sisters who are always harping on our younger ones to act a certain way, dress a certain way. No, because that's not indication of your value or your worth. And police interactions are going to go the way they want them to. I mean, ultimately, your goal is to get home safe to wherever home may be. But don't think for any second that they've considered that you came from a good home or you're educated or any of the things that are, the check marks on success are going to help you in that situation.
To piggyback off that, this whole notion that, and that was one thing that I used to fight with my parents about, back when having cornrows and braids was, in style and whatnot. And back when I had hair, I was told to, have to get it cut a certain way simply because how folks who don't look like us will judge us. And I always felt like, no, like that's not fair. Like there should never be a reason why we have to alter our hair or alter our clothing just to make other groups feel comfortable with our presence. Like, nah.
Right. I'm not here for anybody else's comfort levels other than my own. Yeah, and
absolutely.
And it adds insult to injury that the White House, Sarah Sanders came out recently and said, "Oh well, these kinds of shootings and issues are local matters, and we won't be commenting or interfering with these things." Like is completely what I would expect from this administration. But at the same time, it's like, they don't care what you think anymore. They're going to say exactly what will get them a vote in 2020. So, that is a whole nother conversation. We could talk.
There's a whole other conversation.
On a lighter note, everybody's trying to figure out who bit Beyonce in the face. So I don't know if you've seen this, but in an interview with, I believe it was GQ, Tiffany Haddish came out and added on to this story that she talked about a few months ago about her interaction with Beyonce at a party.
Mm-hmm.
She's now saying that the actress that she referenced that was flirting with Jay-Z in front of Beyonce also bit Beyonce in the face. And now everybody's on a witch hunt to find out who this actress is. Twitter detectives have determined that it might be Sanaa Lathan. She has said, I know, it was crazy, right? She said, "It's not me. Y'all funny. And if it was me, it would have been a love bite." But people aren't convinced. They still think she did it. There's a picture floating around where her getting a little bit too intimate in Beyonce's face. I think this is hilarious.
It really is hilarious.
I think it's a genius marketing move. I think that a lot of what Jay and B do is take advantage of situations and move it in a direction that suits them. When Tiffany came out with that whole thing about the party before, not even a week or two later, Beyonce drops that DJ Khaled track where she's talking about signing NDAs. Then we get this little added bit to it. Now, Beyonce is on everybody's mind again. They got the tour coming. I'm assuming an album's coming. Like,
they got a tour ready. Like, yeah.
It's just a little too perfect, and I'm not mad at all.
Of course it is. All these years of Beyonce being a celebrity, and now we talking about non-disclosure agreements and loose lips sink ships. It's funny. I think it's strategic. Like, it's chess game. I mean, they masters at it now. So
I've been studying this. This is a master class in like personal branding, and I think it's hilarious. And people are doing exactly what Jay and Beyonce
what they wanted to do.
Yep.
Who bit Beyonce? It's a hashtag.
Right. Yeah. It's hilarious. All these memes out now. Like the machine is working perfectly.
Yeah.
And other foolishness. Earlier this week, a Brooklyn museum announced 2 new curators for their African art collection. And surprise, right.
Man,
The two people
listen.
are white people. Now, I'm not discrediting it.
Of course they
Right.
are. Of course they are.
I'm not discrediting it. They may have all of the information, the skills, the education required to do this job greatly. But really? Like, that's who you went with?
Bruh. So do you watch She's Gotta Have It, Spike Lee's on Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember that she had her art exhibit and the guy who like shaded her was some white dude that was, I guess, an expert on African art?
Yes. Yeah. Look, spoiler alert.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, man, yeah, but I thought that was last season, so you ain't seen it. But yeah, spoiler alert. But yeah, this is the same exact thing. It's always interesting that when it comes to our culture, other races are the experts on what we create and what we are expressing. It comes from our soul, but apparently they're the experts. So
and
very interesting.
And my wonder is, it's two-sided. Is it that they chose not to look for anyone who, I don't know, might be of African descent who could do this job? Right. In Brooklyn. I'm thinking the market is there. I don't know. This isn't my space. I don't know. Or they're just like, you know what? Here, you can do it. Come on. Like, this is just does not work for optics in 2018. It just doesn't. All the jokes I've seen around this is centered around Black Panther when Killmonger walks into the museum and he has that reaction. I probably wouldn't have made a big to-do about this. Just kept this under the radar because now you're looking like a fool. It's just ridiculous. The final ridiculous thing I have on our current events is this new plan that the Miami School District has for its teachers. So Miami has pretty much priced out on living situations for its teachers. We've all been to Miami. Miami's ridiculously expensive. So I can't even imagine living there. But instead of the crazy idea of, I don't know, raising teachers' salaries, they decide that
that'll make too much sense.
Yeah,
so
that'll make too much sense. They're going to build apartments across the street from the school and let them live there. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not trying to live across the street from where I work. Mm-mm.
You know how horrible that would be for teachers?
Right. Like, no.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I'm not a teacher. I don't want to speak for teachers, but nah, like, just so your kid, one of the things I've learned from my teacher friends is that a lot of them don't even live in the same district as where they teach at. So I don't know how this gonna fly.
Right. Look, imagine you want to call out from work and your principal like, nah, I see your window open right now. You ain't even home. You better be at work and you better be here in 5 minutes because you live across the street. Like, it ain't no work-life balance at all.
None.
Look, parents rolling up across the street to get a parent conference going on in the middle of the night. Like, I taught. The first job I had out of undergrad, I was a teacher for 2 years. And I just remember, like, on a weekend or after work, when I would see my students and their parents out in public, I was trying to hide from them, but at the same time, the kids were trying to hide from me. And I'm just like, I can imagine having that close of a proximity where you literally see nothing but school day and night. And those kids, day and night, it's just too much access. I don't know who thought that was cool, but it's not.
It sounds good in theory, but when it came to number, and that's really the problem is that too many of our resources and honestly educating our kids is looked at as just a number, and you can't look at it like that. If you look at it just as a number, you're going to take the humanity out of it, and you're going to come up with crazy ideas like this. In theory, yeah, it may sound good and look good on your bottom line financially, but nah, that's
right.
They didn't think that.
And I can't see true. If I'm a taxpayer. Well, first off, if I'm a teacher living in this complex, it better be state of the art, granite countertops.
State of the art.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't have me
off
in the hood.
Beach.
And then as a taxpayer, you better not be spending all my money on no houses for no teachers. So yeah, nobody thought that at all.
Can you imagine? There are literally schools all over the country, especially in some cities. Like I was reading an article in Baltimore that don't even have what they're going to build for the teachers. Like I wouldn't even trust it. Like there's no track record that a developer and property manager is going to come in to make sure that the teachers' interests are highest priority. I just don't see it happen.
And let my toilet overflow. I'm not coming to work because it's all connected. Look,
like no problem. Right. It's just a walk away.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Come downstairs.
Yeah, and like you said, I taught in Baltimore City, so I was in classrooms that didn't have heat, didn't have AC during the summer. It's not fun. Jeez. So don't tell me you buying apartment complexes when the schools ain't even up to par.
Exactly.
So by now, I'm sure you're wondering who I've been talking with for the last 15, 20 minutes or so, and I'm going to finally let them introduce themselves. Go ahead and tell the people who you are.
Yes, hello, everyone. My name is Steven Fance. I am the founder, CEO, and CTO of iCarriage, and we provide solar panel greenhouses in Caribbean and West African and possibly looking at Denver as a phone call today. So we're a technology firm. I started it back in 2015. I started my career as a coder at age 12. My mom taught me. And so I'm second generation. And I went on to study mathematics at Morehouse College, class 07. Shout out to Morehouse. And after Morehouse, I got an internship with, I don't know if I can say their name, but one of the biggest military contractors in the world, writing software code for their airplanes to make sure that they stay in the sky and increase their longevity as long as possible. And after I worked there for about 5 or 6 years, I started my own consulting firm where I would come in and consult with Fortune 500 companies in Atlanta and help them rebuild their software so that it can be automated. So the whole notion of, the machines taking over in automation, it's true. And so I was those guys that they brought in to automate a lot of the software. So and after that, I brought that experience, incredible experience, to my startup, iCarriage. And we started off with installing GPS tracking devices on fleet vehicles for probably the biggest telecommunications company or phone company that most of us have in our pocket. We installed these devices for their customers, such as they would be plumbing companies or school districts, buses. So we install those. And then with that experience, we were able to expand to 7 states and brought in more business. And then we've gone into greenhouses by installing the solar panels and automation tools and software in the greenhouses to make them optimized so that you can control them from the palm of your hand in your iPhone. So that is iCarriage in a nutshell.
Dope. And rewind a little bit. Shout out to Black women in STEM. Like your mom was doing things way ahead of the game.
Oh yeah. Judy, Mama Judy. She is the reason. Honestly, I would give all my credit to her. She's the reason that I am doing what I'm doing. Like she used to force me every summer to practice math problems like for hours, and I used to hate it. Like I dreaded it. She used to make me go to robotics camps, NASA camps, Carnegie Mellon sent me off to there in high school, and so yeah, I owe all of my technical education to her. So she's boss lady. She runs one of the biggest pharmacies in the country. She manages their networking. So whenever you go into this pharmacy that most of us go into, most likely is interacting with your transaction. So yeah, that's my mom.
And yeah, Black women should be the reason for everything. I think I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. Black women should be the reason for everything.
Yo, black women is what's gonna save us from this crazy world we're living in. Like Black women they are the key. So my company, we're heavily going to be investing in technology education for kids of color from all over the world, but specifically Black women, y'all are popping. You know, y'all are the highest increase, I think, business owners in the world in terms of progression with that side. So, and of course, you know, we live in Atlanta. So that's another reason why I love Atlanta is that, you know, everyone in Atlanta is hustling, but really results is happening. And, you know, I love it. I love the atmosphere and vibration.
The reason why we're hearing from Steven today is because he is the man, the guru, when it comes to cryptocurrency. And I wanted to have this conversation because I felt you would be the best one to have this conversation with. And I feel like I'm semi-knowledgeable on cryptocurrency, but I definitely want to know more, especially cryptocurrency today. I mean, it's became a thing that was on everyone's radar in the last year or so, but then 2018 has been a rocky year for crypto.
Mhm.
So I'm going to jump right into it. Is there money to be made in cryptocurrency today? Is there still money? Is there still bags to be secured in cryptocurrency?
So I'm just gonna be honest, right? I've seen the .com era when I was younger. You know, like I've been in technology like my whole life. My mom is in it, and I have never seen technology that has so much potential and so many use cases. And like when I tell you that blockchain, and kind of to backtrack a little bit, so blockchain is the possible. So blockchain is basically a hack-proof internet. And when someone wants to send cryptocurrency to someone else, the reason why it's able to do that is because blockchain creates it to where you use kind of like an Excel document. If everyone is familiar with an Excel document, if let's say if you and I we had a shared Excel document, and I had 5 coins and you had 1 coin, and if I were to transfer 2 of those coins from myself to you, what it would do is instead of me actually sending anything to you, what it really does is it goes to that ledger or that Excel document, and it literally just changes the numbers from the difference between what I'm sending you. So if I had 5, you had 1, you'll literally just have 3, and I'll have 3 as well. So it's the thing is with technology, unfortunately, you know, most people who don't understand it try to explain it and make it more complex than it needs to be. But essentially, cryptocurrency allows us to be able to go into another country and not have to worry about exchanging currencies and worry about transaction fees and crazy costs. You'll literally be able to have your money anywhere in the world and be able to access it and buy anything from cars to homes to food, anything you can think of, you'll be able to buy.
50 Cent album.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's but to answer your original question, is there money still to be made in cryptocurrency? Absolutely. The biggest thing in the news that's going on right now is, you know, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is I wouldn't say the first cryptocurrency, but it is the first that has been widely accepted by the masses. And so Bitcoin is when it hit 20,000, I think it was like December or January, you know, that's when all them started talking about it. And that's when a lot of people who have never heard about it got into it without researching. So getting into cryptocurrency, it is research intensive. And when I say that, I mean you need to read articles all the time. There's not really too many books out on it because it's still a new technology, and we're still figuring out some of the intricate details of it. But for the most part, it's a very incredibly safe and secure technology. If Uber, if Equifax, all these big companies, and even City of Atlanta that has got hacked, you know, if all these entities sit down with companies like ourselves, we can help you integrate blockchain technology in your business. And it will literally give you the competitive advantage that can honestly take down your competitors. Or if you're a startup, it'll literally give you a leg up over some of these big corporations. So it's a very powerful technology for those who understand it and know how to use it?
I've seen blockchain, and that's become a buzzword as of late, used for really people in our space, the entrepreneurial space, where
Yep.
it's a form of protection for themselves. I've seen it used for I can't think of the artist. I know Bjork is one of the artists who's been using it, but using it to control their masters. Like if I'm an independent artist, and you want access to my music, I'll send you the process, and it's all done through blockchain. And I've always been told from friends don't worry about the currency so much, but worry about the technology behind it, because that's what if this is all to end one day, that technology is going to last. And we already see banks using it. And that people in everyday business using it. And I'm glad you went into what blockchain is in its simplest terms, because a lot of times when people are looking to get started in this, they're like, I don't know where to begin, or I don't even know what's the base language that I should be talking to even get in the space of thinking about becoming involved in cryptocurrency. So with that, tell us, like, what was the spark for you? How'd you get involved in the cryptocurrency space?
Yeah, so I got involved. For one, I had found out about Bitcoin maybe back in 2013. A good friend of ours that's in Emerging 100, he had, came to me. He was like, yeah, Bitcoin is digital currency. And so at the time, and I'm a mathematician, so I understand the technology behind it, but I didn't connect the dots with the use case of it. And because of that, unfortunately, I missed back when Bitcoin was $100. Like I missed that boat. However, this second time around, I got into blockchain, and then when I got into blockchain, understanding how blockchain can solve a lot of these logistic problems that occur in the food industry and the travel industry, and even in the business I'm currently in. That's when it really, like, I had a crazy epiphany and a light bulb just went off. And then I started to connect it and saying, okay, now I see why cryptocurrency is so important. Is because, you think about it, when you take money out of a bank, you're not taking it out of your account. There's like money that's being borrowed from other institutions to make sure you get cash. But that stuff is often, the pending status can be days, but with cryptocurrency is just minutes, and it's so many use cases, and I want to be specific. So with blockchain, one of the most relevant ways I believe that it can really shape this world and really make it better is, for example, back a couple years ago, there was an outbreak of E. coli from spinach, and it made news. Like, I think a number of thousands of grocery stores across the country had to take off all their spinach because, it was a liability and risk. Well, if these factories and manufacturers who grow spinach and use blockchain technology, and not only them using it, the grocery stores using it, the fleet trucking companies who transport it from A to B, if they all use blockchain technology plus Internet of Things sensors, the devices I was speaking about earlier with the GPS tracking devices, with the combination of those two technologies, the grocery stores and everyone that's part of that supply chain process would have been able to find exactly which factory that E. coli broke out from, or which truck freezer had died en route 8 hours and allowed the spinach to become unable to eat or consume. So that's one example of how blockchain can literally save lives. And blockchain can also help with the cost of food. There's so much money and resources that are spent when we have to ship food from one country to another. And when we ship, let's say, for example, potatoes from somewhere, you have to go through like 5 or 6 different entities for customs, from them picking the potatoes to it arriving at your dinner table. That cost of that potato would drop significantly by using smart contracts and blockchain, to where you don't have to have all those documents go to each of those groups and wait via email attachments and blase. Blockchain will literally be triggered to where all that stuff is taken care of by software code. And we would never have to worry about it. Everyone would have transparent information. You'll know exactly where our food is coming from. And even brands and marketers like Kroger and even, some of these brands that put packaging on our food, they would be able to get critical consumer information from blockchain, likes to eat, like what the consumer prefers and tastes based upon region. All those things is very important to the business model, and blockchain is able to provide it.
So we would be able essentially to pick up new data points on things that we've kind of been overlooking for years if we were to implement blockchain on a higher scale. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And one case point too, I've been out on the West Coast for a couple months, meeting with business owners in the cannabis side. So with iCarriage, what we're doing is with the greenhouses that we partner with growers, and they can be bananas, mangoes, or cannabis, and depends on the market. So, for example, being in California, in Seattle, Washington, dispensaries are popping up. And what we notice is that a lot of people, when they go into dispensaries, they want to know exactly, how strong a certain strand is, or where did it come from? Was it grown in the greenhouse, or was it indoor or outdoor? All that stuff affects price, affects quality, it affects potency. And now that, for example, cannabis is becoming legalized in multiple states, people want higher standard. It's no longer, that the weed man just bring you whatever you got. It's more like I went into this one dispensary in Seattle. This thing looked like it was a high-end Whole Foods, and it was this all weed. Like, it was amazing. The packaging was nice, and it's getting to the level to where people are going to be able to know exactly where that plant was grown, what state, when it was transported, and all that information can be provided to the consumer through blockchain. And that's what we're doing. We're bringing blockchain technology and partnering with everyone in the food supply chain. Anything that we consume or grow, we're partnering with growers and business and manufacturers to be able to provide that company's tremendous overhead, and consumers will be able to get more quality food products.
So you, as someone who is, setting the pace for blockchain and its many implementations, do you feel like it's a secure form of transactions?
Absolutely. Now, when I say secure, I want everyone to understand there's nothing in this world that is 100% secure. Right. If anyone who's ever been in the locksmith business, it's no different. It really just takes time and resource to break through any type of system. However, blockchain is thousands upon thousands of times more secure than our current internet infrastructure. And this is important because, like, hacking is a problem. And the bigger problem is that a lot of these corporations and companies are not disclosing when it happens, because it's an embarrassment to their IT department. I've seen it with my own eyes. When something like that happens, people are getting let go and fired, because that's money out the door. That's business that's being left, and your brand has to be rebuilt. The thing is with blockchain, all of these hacking and stuff, when I think what Uber was trying to pay these hackers to get their information back, you don't have to deal with that with blockchain. Like, you can have a company come in. Let's say if you have a medium-sized company, you can have a blockchain consulting company come in, integrate blockchain. Maybe it costs you $50,000 to $200,000, but it'll save you $1 million, $2 million down the line when someone tries to hack you. We're at the time of technology ages where all the companies, now that they have these great tax incentives, now they have plenty of money to spend on technology. So it's an amazing time to get into technology and coding. We have some big projects coming down the line where we're going to be educating, teaching people at a affordable price, that where our people can get access and learn. So yeah, I'm very excited where blockchain is going. And the more that people understand it, the more our world will be shaped for the better.
I think a lot of the fear around cryptocurrency and digital currencies, especially in our community, is that they don't have any personal definition of how secure this whole process is, which is so funny to me because, as you mentioned, our banks get hacked into all the time.
All the time.
Our credit bureaus, the people who determine your life, get hacked regularly and ain't telling you nothing until they're forced to, until somebody blew a whistle or the hackers expose them. It happens all of the time. Like nothing is secure. Why do you think we as a community are so afraid of investing into Bitcoin? Why are we as a community so risk averse?
I mean, that's a deep question that's probably a little bit outside of the scope of this conversation. However,
right.
I will attempt to give a simple response. Is the truth is we're just afraid of risk, and the reason is because we don't have a lot to risk.
Right.
It is really about people who invest in stocks and real estate. They have extra money that they have been able to accumulate that they don't need to keep the food on the table or lights on and pay your rent or mortgage. So we're not raised to even look at money like that because we don't have the bandwidth to even think about it like that. We're living paycheck to paycheck, and unless you're making like over $1 million a year, like you can easily get into a paycheck to paycheck situation very quickly. So with that said, I can't, I don't want to be saying that I have to blame us. Of course, we have to take responsibility for our own education and our own lives financially. But we really have to dive into really is this education and lifting the veil off stuff that is really not as scary as what people say. This conversation reminds me of an interview I saw recently, but it was done I think early 91, 92, back when the internet first came about, right? And so it was some newscaster who was trying to describe the internet, and the way he described it, it was crazy. He was trying to say you send some packet of information to a network server. It just seemed forced, and you can tell he didn't understand it. And that's exactly what's happening with blockchain. People back when .com era said that the internet would never do what it did. What it's doing now. No one even predicted that we'll be using the internet the way we are. And it really points also to why we have to switch to blockchain. I know back in December, I can't remember the organization but they basically handled the net neutrality. Net neutrality, unfortunately, had to happen because our whole internet infrastructure is duct taped. And the reason why it's duct taped like that is because we didn't foresee us using phones and downloading whole CD albums in seconds, on our phones. That the infrastructure wasn't built for that. And so as a result, they unfortunately are altering different speeds in different regions of the country. But it's also just so that it's kind of similar to how when new Nikes or Jordans drop, whenever a new Nikes or Jordans drop, usually Nike website goes down or is blocked. So that's basically is it's too much traffic, and so the internet website just drops off. That's going to keep happening if we don't switch to blockchain. Our internet is going to start slowing down. Websites and Netflix and all these places are going to start slowing down, especially once augmented reality and virtual reality stuff is embedded in our viewing platforms like Netflix. It's going to slow the internet so much down. So we got a lot of work to do when it comes to the internet infrastructure, but it's definitely its time right now.
So we should definitely be looking for our opportunities of efficiency in the internet. Because like you said, there's so much stuff going on. And just with AR, I can pull up augmented reality apps on my phone. Like that's bananas. And then as we move into like 5G as far as internet connectivity, where hospitals can share information on surgeries like in real time, immediate.
Yeah.
Like I forget the amount of laughs that they say, but it's so minuscule that people wouldn't even pick up on it. So we need, and especially as more people get connected, as the rest of the world finds its way in getting connected, it's only going to get worse. I'm glad you brought that up. And you mentioned a point about our community and their feelings on risk. And I remember watching Banking on Bitcoin on Netflix. And I remember one of the early investors were the twins from Facebook, the Winklevoss twins. And they were just throwing money into it because they knew, all right, you know what? I ain't got to worry about bills being paid. I ain't got to worry about the mortgage.
Yeah, they got that's that. This well, I was about to curse, but it's the type of money that was for them, and we don't have that type of money to throw into investments because investments are high risk. So.
But then the thing is, education comes where once you read up on Bitcoin, you learn I don't have to buy the entire coin. I could buy $10 worth of that coin and get into the game.
Exactly. $10 worth of that coin.
Right.
Yep.
But that comes with knowledge and people spreading that knowledge. And it takes people like you dipping their toe and being a pioneer in this and coming back and spreading that word. But yeah, that was something, because I remember when I was mad at myself, because I knew about Bitcoin for years and just let it kind of roll over my shoulders. But last summer, early fall, I started getting into it more and reading up and trying to get knowledgeable. Because I remember going on to, one of the first things I read was download Coinbase. So I go in and I look at the price for Bitcoin and I'm like, I ain't got a couple $1,000s to drop on a coin that just let, hope it does something.
Yeah.
But reading up on it, it's like, oh, I could buy $20 of it. I could buy $50 of it. I don't have to buy an entire thing. So, it's funny how our community is like, no, I ain't doing nothing with no digital coins. I can't carry that around. I can't cash that out. When it requires such a small entryway to getting it involved, you can literally put up $1 or $2, into it and see what it does. And people don't know that. Mm-hmm. But it frustrates me to think that we were kind of behind on this as a community when we're trendsetters across the board everywhere else. But we're afraid to really be ahead of the game in areas such as this. Why do you think that is?
Well, I do want to be clear. Something that I found interesting. So when we launched our cryptocurrency CarriageCoin back in December, I had a mentor, because we're just going to go with the typical ICO route. But the typical ICO route is you put your coin on social media and blast it. And of course now Facebook and all the social media platforms are not allowing companies to put cryptocurrency ads on there. But me and him had a disagreement in terms of he didn't believe that our people would, get into cryptocurrency. And I said, I think, it's a little bit different times, the millennials, people our age, and then also in Atlanta, Atlanta is a lot more advanced with technology in the South compared to other cities in the South because of, all these tech corporations and the AUC, Georgia Tech, Georgia State are all there. And so what ended up happening is now we have over 800 people in our GroupMe, and all we talk about is cryptocurrency, and it's all Black people, and the thing is, what I've learned is that, we're not against taking risks as long as we know all the details. And the thing is that I think the reason why we also tiptoe when it comes to investments is because, our parents, grandparents have told us stories about when they've invested in certain things and stuff has been taken away from them, so, I think that's more so from a traumatic experiences, which I think are validated.
Right.
But when it comes to cryptocurrency and blockchain, you know, we're actually on it on the low. It's, you know, there's no way of getting a whole lot of demographics on it because of the nature of the technology. And it's hard to get identification when you buy cryptocurrency and sell it. But in Atlanta's popping when it comes to blockchain cryptocurrency. One company, I think they have like over 20 ATMs that they install, and that's because there's a nice blockchain cryptocurrency community in Atlanta. So it's definitely there. And you'll be surprised. People don't.
Yeah, I think there's an ATM like around the corner from my house.
Yeah.
And I don't live in the hood. I live hood adjacent. I live in the black side of Decatur. So I was really surprised to see that a Bitcoin where I could cash out my Bitcoin at this ATM was less than a mile away from my house.
Yeah, and also another thing is barbers are getting into cryptocurrency a lot. I went to get a cut for my beard last week, and this barber out here in LA, he was like, yeah, I got a couple coins. You know, people come and pay me in Bitcoin and Ether and blah, blah, blah. And it made sense because, you know, I've been to a barbershop plenty of times where I didn't have cash on me, and I had to go to the ATM and pay $3.50 or $4 to get, you know, some cash out. But with cryptocurrency, you can literally just send it to your barber right there. It's cheaper on both sides. So it's definitely solving some problems, and it's our responsibility to learn as much as possible about it. And the best way to learn about it is YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in, what is Bitcoin? What's cryptocurrency? How does blockchain work? YouTube is the best teacher for technology. It's free. So we have no excuses anymore. We have to take responsibility and hold ourselves accountable. So,
Steven, I'm glad that you brought up barbershop. Shout out to the barbershop accepting Bitcoin, by the way. I just got my barber onto the Cash App. So I'm really hyped about that because I got tired of carrying around cash. But this is a perfect time to shout out one of our sponsors, which is Fresh Heritage. So, brothers out there and sisters who shop for brothers, if you're looking for premium grooming products created to amplify your beard game, you need to check out Fresh Heritage. Their natural and organic beard oils are carefully crafted with ingredients used in the grooming traditions of our African ancestors, such as argan oil, organic jojoba oil, I hope I said that right, coconut and sunflower oils. Their products keep your beard soft, shiny, and conditioned. I know I use it. Steven is actually an ambassador for Fresh Heritage, so I know he's using it. These products keep you and your beard on point without any harmful chemicals or ingredients. We all trying to be better, all trying to get our semi-play vegan on. You can do it with your beard first if you're thinking about taking that step. But we here at UNGENTRIFIED have a deal for you. So if you head over to their website, which is freshheritage.com, you can take 15% off your first order if you use the promo code UNGENTRIFIED at checkout. So remember, check out Fresh Heritage. They're also on Instagram. If you type in the hashtag Fresh Heritage, I think you see Steven on there like killing it with his beard. But definitely check them out. I use it regularly, and it got my beard point. Ain't nobody complaining about my beard. All I get is comments. I don't know about you, Steven.
Man, when I tell you, man, you know, the beard phenomenon is crazy. So I started growing my beard maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, off and on, and then it was more consistent maybe about 2 years ago. Man, when I tell you, the beard gang is wild. Like, people hit me up all the time. I'm talking about guys and women. Guys be like, yo, you know, I'm trying to, you know, my beard is struggling, you know, da-da-da-da-da, you know, I'm trying to fill it in. Women be like, yo, my dude, I want to buy some beard oil for my man, da-da-da. You know, and so it's a crazy phenomenon. And so Fresh Heritage is the way to go. So I've been using Fresh Heritage for over a year, consumer, and my beard grows pretty well by itself, but using Fresh Heritage, it is adds the extra shine to it that needs to, you know, to pop out. So go with Fresh Heritage.
Yeah, shout out to Fresh Heritage, and make sure you take advantage of that discount. You won't be disappointed. We got to get fresh heritage on this cryptocurrency wave. They need to be accepting that for checkout.
Yeah.
Hey, if the sponsors are listening, you heard that. We're sending over the invoice for this great advice.
Yep.
But to get back to the topic at hand, I'm really glad to hear that the hood is, and not to quote Scott Disick, but cryptocurrency is looking at the hood like the hood love me right now, which is it's so funny because, like I said, you made a reference to like our parents and them being, really risk shy when it comes to things because of what have happened to them. They did all the right things. They bought the house and their house has lost all the value that it was supposed to have, or they put their money into some kind of investment and lost everything they had. Ended up on an episode of Greed. We see this stuff all the time. But at the same time, I remember the first saving bank that I saw was the mattress because my people didn't trust the bank, So it's very funny how we've taken an approach to digital currency, but I'm glad that our generation is more open to it. And I think we're slowly breaking down the ideas of what success looks like for the Black community. Like, we've all been told good degree, good job, good retirement, good life. And like that was the only way to make it happen. But you have this group, and it usually happens around like 32, where you just get weary. Like the veil has been pulled back and you realize that this may be the way, but I may be dead before I get to enjoy any of these good choices, quote unquote, that I've made. So I'm thankful that industries like this, that could really be a space where, you could do your thing on your own and nobody ever know the color of your skin or have that be an impact in the success that you make or the money that you make as a result of this. You can push your own coin. You can have, CarriageCoin or you can find a sound investment and make your money and be out. There are various ways for our community to secure the bag, so to speak. And I'm glad that digital currency is opening up our eyes and doors to see what the options are. So, Steven, with that said, if I'm new to the game and, I go look and I'm like, oh man, the wave is over. In December it was 20,000, but now Bitcoin is 7,000, or I don't know where to start, so I'm not going to start. How do we get that person on board with the digital currency wave? What do you think is the first step?
So the first step is I would download a couple apps to get started. So one app I would say has been like the sandbox, for people who want to get their feet wet in cryptocurrency is Coinbase. And Coinbase, they sell Bitcoin, Ether, and Litecoin. I think they may have some more coins coming, but I would say download Coinbase. That's a great way to start. And, use your debit card, buy like $50 worth. That's the type of, you spend that on Edgewood buying drinks. And just buy a little bit and just kind of get used to it. You can also join our GroupMe. I can send that information over, but we have a GroupMe of people who own, buy, and sell cryptocurrency. And we talk about everything from the tricks of the trade to which apps are good, what works, what doesn't work. And it's really a great community to connect with people. And it's people like us. Like it really feels like a family of people that's there to help others make money.
Good to know. And then people don't even realize, and I learned this recently, that an app that a lot of us already have on our phone has made it really easy to buy digital currency, which is the Cash App.
Yep.
They just started accepting it. Unfortunately, well, at least as of this recording, you can't buy it in Georgia through the app. This is something I learned when I saw the announcement. I was like, oh, I'm going to try it out and learn that it's not all of the states. I think Georgia, New York, and there's one other one that I can't think of. You can't use that functionality just yet, but if you're everywhere else, you should be able to. And it's crazy, and that's why I was like, I want people to know that digital currency isn't going anywhere. You can see, these drops in value, but if there wasn't money to be made and opportunities out there, the Cash App wouldn't have announced that you could buy digital currency through their app a month or so ago. I think it was February when they announced it. So as you hear all these talks about the end of crypto, look at the companies that are still moving along, just as they were before, markets went down and things of the nature. So don't think that the opportunity isn't there. Is there anything that you would suggest people? I know you mentioned YouTube, any other resources? And for those who were listening, we are going to drop the link to the GroupMe that Steven referenced a few minutes ago. But is there anything else?
Yeah, I would say, I would say Coinbase is good. In terms of learning, I would say blockgeeks.com is a really good website for those who want to get on the technical side and learn how to code blockchain. Another good website for cryptocurrency blockchain news is coindesk.com. Token Reporter also is good, tokenreporter.com. But if you start with those, you'll have a strong foundation of what cryptocurrency, blockchain, how it works, and how to make money.
And I just learned, I don't know if I'm sure you have, but I just learned about this Facebook group called Wacoinda, where there's hundreds, I want to say thousands of people having these types of conversations every day. Everything from a newbie to a seasoned vet, as seasoned as you can be in the few years of blockchain and digital currency that we have. But is there anything, Steven, that you would suggest our community avoid when getting involved in cryptocurrency?
Yeah, so the big thing in the news right now that's going on with cryptocurrency is ICOs, and that's initial coin offerings. And so the acronym, or even what it means, is basically when a company similar to us who creates a cryptocurrency, and just to backtrack, all these cryptocurrencies that are coming out, I think last time I checked, there's about a little bit over 2,000 cryptocurrencies out there in the world. This is just like in a .com era when everyone was just like, oh, look at me, I have a website like dog.com or t-shirt.com, so you're going to come across a whole lot of, hey, look at me, I got a coin type thing. But if they don't have, this is a few things that you need to look out for if you're going to buy a brand new coin that's just launching. First of all, you need to check the background of the team. So most people, you're supposed to read like a white paper, and a white paper is basically, it's really like a thesis of the company of how they're going to use blockchain and cryptocurrency in their business model. So if you go to that white paper and you look at the team, if they don't have the following titles, such as software architect or blockchain engineer, and I'm talking about on the highest level, like the CEO or the chief technology officer, if they don't have those skill sets, I honestly would be very careful with it, because the thing is that a lot of these companies are startups who just in a position to raise traditional venture capitalist funds. Now, it's not to say that they are not worthy to, but it's more so you just got to be careful. And they're scammers. Like, we live in a world where if you aren't educated or read up on latest news and what's going on, then people are going to take advantage of you. So it's extremely important that you research, read as much as possible before you purchase like brand new coins. So with that said, that is probably the biggest, I would say, thing to look out for getting into cryptocurrency. The next thing will be you need to educate yourselves tremendously. And this is where YouTube comes in with wallets. So there's 3 different types of wallets. There is a hardware wallet, which is basically a souped up USB drive. There is the paper wallet, which is where you literally print out the special password key
to get access to your money. And once you get into cryptocurrency, you'll learn that a private key is the kind of like the password so you can access your money. Anyone who has that private key is basically in control of your money. So it's very important that you keep that in a safe space that is not on a computer. And that's important because people are getting hacked for their money, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So this is a type of thing where being paranoid is a good thing as a safety parameter. So you need to be very wary that we're talking about money, and anything that has value, people's going to try to take from it. So like I said before, just read up as much as possible, and reach out to other people too, like friends and family that you trust who are been doing cryptocurrency for a while. Ask them what coins or certain apps, and then, really dive into it. Like I said, like we're at the forefront of this massive bubble. Like this is not even the beginning. I think what Bitcoin was 20K in December. And please don't take this as financial advice at all, but I'm pretty confident that, cryptocurrency is not going anywhere. I think the percentage of the market to adopt it is only like 0.5%. And that's where we were with the .com era back around 92. So we're basically in 1992, and people are coming to tell you that the internet, websites, and all this stuff is coming, and people are like, nah, that's impossible. I can't imagine it. Fast forward to 2018, now here we are. If you had invested in those .com businesses back then, you would absolutely be a millionaire. The thing is that blockchain and cryptocurrency makes the .com era going to look like a lemonade stand by the time it really gets to mass adoption. Like once Walmart and these big retailers start accepting cryptocurrency, that's when, it's starting to get really adopted. And so it's really the opportune time for everyone to buy into any cryptocurrency. Just buy some. Like, it's really not that serious. Just buy a little bit, get used to it. And then you'll start getting more information, and you'll get, more comfortable with, buying more. So just read up as much as possible and reach out to people around
you. And don't be in these streets, out on the streets, because you didn't put your house up on a coin and you ain't done no research. So make sure you do it. Please don't do it.
Please don't do that. Yeah, don't empty your 401k. Don't empty your savings. Pay your mortgages and your rent. Like, don't do that. Don't do
right.
that.
I'm gonna be real typical and send my Hotep-ish. I'm gonna have a Hotep moment. Don't buy them pair of Jordans and put that money towards some Bitcoin. You know what? Do whatever you want with your money, but don't spend it all on cryptocurrency just yet. Steven, thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
Please let the people know where they can find you, where they can buy your currency, if they can buy it. You still selling it? It's still out in the street?
Yeah, so we had stopped selling for a couple months because of the whole atmosphere with the SEC, with the ICO. So our whole goal was never to do an ICO, but more so to start building the technology and integrate it with our own. But you can, we're just now opening up again. And so our coin CarriageCoin is a form of payment for our solar panel resorts that we're building. So our first project is going to be in Negril, Jamaica. We are finalizing the closing of the property, and our offer has been accepted. So we're in the due diligence process, basically. But what we're doing is we're building these greenhouse resorts that will be able to grow just about any fruits or vegetables in those greenhouses. And we'll be able to sell it to other resorts. We'll be able to sell it to the locals. We're going to have everything on our property, from the greenhouses to a hotel resort to an event center where we can have music festivals. So we're going to be partnering with a number of corporations that want to do conferences there. Cannabis companies we're partnering with. They're going to sell products, from all types of cannabis type products on the property. But we're getting heavily into hemp. And I wanted to touch base really quick before I got off about hemp. And hemp is a similar flower to cannabis, except it doesn't have the THC in it, or less than 0.3%. What that is that's the part of weed and cannabis that makes you high. So hemp is literally can be used to replace the whole plastics industry, from water bottles to the building materials in our homes to clothes that we wear to linens on our bed. Like hemp can literally transform everything we do with life, and then it will be cheaper and biodegradable to the hemp industrial hemp side of things, and of course is a lot more acceptable than the cannabis flower. But that's what we got going on, and so CarriageCoin is a form of payment that will be used on our resort. So we have a number of locations that are also in the pipeline from Central Jamaica, also Nigeria, Zimbabwe. We have a Colorado property we're talking about acquiring as well. So we have a number of good projects coming on, and our goal is really to make food accessible and as healthy as possible around the world. So that's iCarriage and that's CarriageCoin, and the website to register and then purchase our coin. So when you register, if you for everyone that's familiar with when you buy new coins, it's something called Know Your Customer. So you have to send in your identification, but other than that, you'll be able to purchase our coins today, actually. So our coin is currently selling for 1 Ether. You'll get 1,000 Carriage coins. And so the goal is that you're buying it now at a discount so that once our resorts and apps and technologies open up, you'll be able to buy products and services at a discount.
And what was the website?
Yeah, the website is XIS Global, and that's XISGLOBAL.co/CarriageCoin, CarriageCoin. And when you go there, you'll see our site. It'll have the coin information on there, and you'll have to register, like I said before, and you'll have all the information to buy.
And we'll have that link in the description for the show and in the notes for the show. So if you want to learn more about Steven's Coin and what they're doing, it sounds like great work. I'm all about cooperative economics and putting money back into the diaspora any way we can, and keeping the dollar or the digital coin in this case circulating as long as it can within our community. Again, Steven, thank you for joining us today, dropping some knowledge about digital currency and how it can affect our community. I'm greatly appreciative of you. Anywhere else they can find out about you or your other businesses that you're in, please let them know before we head out.
Okay, yeah. You can also catch my personal Instagram at Steven Fance, StevenFance. You can also follow us on Instagram with iCarriage, ICarriage _ I believe. Also, I'm part of a number of organizations in the city, so we throw events. I'm part of Stone Mountain chapter, Kappa Alpha Psi. Shout out to the Noops, and also I'm part of Emerging 100. In Atlanta.
Shout out to the E.
Yeah, shout out to the East.
On that note, of course, you can find us, the podcast, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. Your mother's next bingo tournament. You can find us everywhere at Ungentrified Pod. Of course, our website is ungentrifiedpodcast.com. I, your host, can be found at Kent, KENT_ESQ. And again, thank you guys for listening. Make sure that you share, you subscribe, you write a review, you give me 5 stars, you do all those things. Thank you for listening, and I'll check you guys next time. Thanks again, Steven.
Thank you.